Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Annie, this is Stanley, and we're here to talk about books. So today's video is going to be my June TBR, where I select all the books I'm planning to read in June. Now, I have been making content on BookTube for just over a year now. Still can't believe that's the case, but we are where we are and I'm having a fantastic time. But one of the things that I have felt for a while that I was missing was a ridiculously overcomplicated TBR game. I've seen quite a few people play these over the last couple of years and have always been jealous, but I hadn't managed to figure out what to do for my TBR game. I have a very faithful and well-loved robot TBR prompt jar, and he's not going anywhere, don't worry, he's still going to be involved. But I wanted to make it more fun, more me, more, I don't know, interactive. And recently I discovered a new booktuber that I am now following, Liv, over on Endless Pages, and she created a TBR game this year based on the TV show Criminal Minds, which is really fun. Great idea. And it sparked something in my brain. It sparked my brain. And I just went off on a massive obsessive tangent when I should have been doing other things in the last couple of days, and created my own TBR game. And thank you so much to Liv for the inspiration, because mine is going to be based on one of my favourite TV shows, Stargate SG-1 from back in the 90s, if anybody remembers that far back. So we are going to get into that in a little while. I hope it's not going to take too long for me to explain how it works, and that it will be fun for you to watch and for me to play. I've not played it before. I only just finished making the components about 10 minutes ago, so we're gonna experience it for the first time together. But first of all, let's make some tea. Good old tea drawers. Everything is ready. What is the tea selection? 17. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, which is green and white lavender. Ooh, got plenty of this one. I think I got this at Fantasy Forest last year, so hopefully I'll be able to get some more this year, because I seem to be running a little bit low. But we will be going in July, so hopefully the purveyors of fine fantasy teas will be there again. I got a discount from the last time by winning at a dice game against the tea stall owner. Good old past me has, as ever, already boiled the kettle. And there we go. Green and white lavender. Very nice. So here we are with the amazing game. Stanley is here to make sure that nothing goes wrong and that I don't mess it up. Robot TBR jar is ready. We've got spinner wheel, we've got a giant die, we've got the board. So this is my little piece. I know anybody with an eagle eye will be able to see that this spaceship is from a different TV show, but it's the spaceship I had. Here we have the board. There are 36 squares, and I'm going to start at the SGC, which is Stargate Command, each time, and I'm going to roll 2d6, move around the board, get a prompt for selecting a book, and keep going until I get back to the SGC at the top. Now, I'm hoping with 35 squares and 2d6 that I'm going to get roughly 4 to 6 books out of this, but you will note that there is definitely scope for that going somewhat awry. You will see that there are different coloured squares around the board. They represent different types of things. So there's characters, there's gate symbols, there's locations, there's objects, there are alien races, and there are bad guys, and they will have different effects or different prompts. And the first thing that we're going to do each time we play the game is select a mission, and I have created 12 missions, and eventually there's going to be a deck of mission cards and I'm going to draw one. But since this is the first time we're playing the game, I'm going to just use mission 1, which is first chevron encoded, the first mission through the gate, full of optimism. We'll see how long that lasts. And the objective is to land on at least one character square, which is the yellow ones, and at least one location square, which is the purple ones. And then there are success and failure effects that will change what happens with the TBR. So I'm going to put that in the middle to remind me that I've got to track whether I land on a character and a location. Okay. Are you ready, Stanley? Are you ready, robot TBR jar? Are you ready, tiny spaceship? Let's go. 5 and 6, 11. Oh, off to a flying start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have hit the gold. So they are the main bad guys in the show, and because no matter what the heroes do, they just keep coming back, the gold prompt is to continue a series that I'm already partway through, which is excellent because I'm trying to continue series. So very happy with that. But it wouldn't be me if it wasn't ridiculously complicated. So on top of each square on the board, we're also going to spin a spinner wheel for one of the prompts for the other reading challenges that I'm doing across the year, and combine whatever that prompt is for this month, or a general prompt if it's a longer challenge, with the square prompt, and find a book that fulfills both. Just because, you know, I like to make life difficult for myself. And also because if I only had one book for each square and one book for each of my challenges, there'd be like 15 books on my TBR, and that's no good. So let's see what we get to go with the gold. Around it goes. The Aeldir map. Okay, so this is part of the magical readathon. Let me just find the appropriate graphic. So G over on Book Roast, who runs Magical Readathon, has created, or her partner Logan does all the art, they've created this amazing Adventures in Aeldir map, and each month you move to a different point on the map and get a prompt for a book. So I am down in this corner over here at the moment. So let me zoom in. So last month I went from 4B to 5B and entered the cave. So I've got quite a lot of options available to me, but I went over in this corner of the board last year because you use the same board 2 years in a row. So I want to try and go this way. I want to try and go this way. So I've either got to solve traps or fight a water demon. I don't think I'm going to be very good at solving traps. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be good at fighting water demons either, but that seems like the more appealing prompt for me. So we're going to go with that. So, fighting water demons. Go straight and be met by a furious water demon. Good thing it's not your first time facing one. Water on the cover. So, I've got to find a book that continues a series I'm partway through and has water on the cover. So, the gold are making me continue a series, and that's combining with the Adventures in Aeldir prompt of water on the cover. And this works out very nicely for me because I have a book that is on a series that I haven't continued for a long time, which the next instalment of has water on the cover. So for this, I am going to pick The Hanging Tree by Ben Aronovich, which I think is book 6 in the Rivers of London series, which follows Peter Grant, a relatively new police officer at the start of the series who gets assigned to a department that deals with magical shenanigans in and around London. And I really love the audio books because the narrator is amazing. So yeah, very happy to combine those 2 prompts with that. Okay, so moving on. 1. Oh, and 6 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, we're getting all of the alien races so far. It's not helping me with my mission. But the Unas are a slave race of the Goa'uld, and the Goa'uld need hosts for their spawn that are little kind of snake creatures that live inside the host's stomach. It's all pretty grim. And the Unas are one of the races that the Goa'uld enslaved a very, very, very long time ago in the history of the show. So the prompt for the Unas square is a book published prior to 2000. And then we have the spinner wheel. The Adventures in Aeldia map has been removed because there's only 1 prompt for that for the month. So we have fewer options. So combining with the Unas is... oh, the buzzword title. So the buzzword challenge has 1 set of prompts for the title and 1 set of prompts for the cover, and there's 1 for each month. And for June, it is 1 word title. So I've got to find a book with a 1 word title that was published before 2000. Interesting. So next we got the Unas, which is published before 2000, and the buzzword title prompt, which is a 1 word title. And this is a bit annoying because Reddit Fantasy Bingo also has a 1 word title prompt, and I was going to combine them with a particular book, but it wasn't published before 2000. So, the TBR game has betrayed me. But I have found a book which fulfills the published before 2000 and also the 1 word title, which ticks off a different Reddit Fantasy Bingo square, which was one of the ones I was struggling with, which is published in the 70s and ideally by a female author. And I found Dream Snake by Vonda McIntyre, which was published in 1978 and sounds really interesting. It's about a woman travelling in a post-apocalyptic Earth, healing people. And because she's travelling around and has an animal companion that's a snake, I could also potentially use this for the Explorers and Rangers square on Reddit Fantasy Bingo, so that gives me some options, and options are always good. So I will forgive the game board this time around. Just once. Only forgive it once. I'm just popping in to say that in a turn of events that I could never have predicted, I am nearly at 100 subscribers. Woo! It's completely wild to me, and thank you so much if you are one of those subscribers. And you never know, I may have hit 100 subscribers by the time you see this clip, which would be amazing. But regardless, once I do hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to do an Ask Stanley Anything video. Because, I mean, you can ask me stuff too if you want, but I'm assuming that people are going to want to ask Stanley rather than me because he's amazing. But yes, if you would like to ask Stanley a question, or me, drop it in the comments. And once I hit 100 subscribers, I will answer Stanley, will answer all questions. Okay, we're halfway around the board already. So, what's next? 2 and 3 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haha! This is ridiculous. It's all the alien races in a row. So it's definitely not helping me with the mission. But that's the Jafar, which is interesting because they're kind of the successors to the Unas. So in the present day of the TV show, the race enslaved to be hosts to the Goa'uld spawn are now the Jafar. So interesting progression from Goa'uld to Unas to Jafar. And the Jafar prompt, because they form an uprising over the course of the show against their Goa'uld masters, is a book where there is a group of people or a group of heroes fighting oppression or going up against a corrupt system. Right, that might be a bit trickier. And what are we going to be combining that with? There's not that many of these challenge squares left. Ooh, Reddit Fantasy Bingo. Okay, that might make life a bit easier because Reddit Fantasy Bingo is an annual challenge where you have to read science fiction and fantasy books, and quite a lot of those have people fighting oppression or going up against a corrupt system, so it shouldn't be too difficult to combine those two. I don't have a specific Reddit Fantasy Bingo listed because I'm giving myself free choice, so this one's not going to disappear off the spinner wheel. So next up we've got fighting oppression or going up against a corrupt or restrictive system from the Jafar Square, and also the general Reddit Fantasy Bingo section of the spinner wheel. And I'm definitely forgiving the game because I can get the other one-word title book back on the TBR, which is Skip Shock by Caroline O'Donoghue. And this is about a young woman who gets on a train and gets transported to a different realm where when you travel away from the station, different things happen to time. So sometimes it speeds up and sometimes it slows down. And I have discovered from some research that it's all about the people in that realm fighting against a restrictive system that is trying to control their travel. So it's going to fit. Hurrah! So it fulfills the one-word title from Reddit Fantasy Bingo and the Jafar fighting oppression. So I'm very, very happy that this can go back on my planned June TBR. Hurrah! Okay, back to the board. It's not looking likely that I'm going to pass my first mission, which isn't that great. Where's the Diagonos over there? Okay. 4 and 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The DHD, which stands for Dial Home Device, and that is one of the objects on the board, and that is the, it's kind of like a computer console in a way that the heroes use to program the Stargate. So they put different combinations of symbols into the device and it dials the correct address for them to get home from different planets. And the prompt for that is a book that's set outside my home country, because in order to use a DHD you have to be on a different planet. So that's interesting. And what are we combining that with? The buzzword cover challenge. Okay. So the buzzword cover challenge is similar to the title one, but it's got a requirement for something on the cover, and June's is wings. So I've got to find a book with wings on the cover that is set outside my home country. So next up, the DHD, the Dial Home Device, gave us a prompt of set outside my home country, and also the buzzword cover challenge of wings on the cover. And I have to admit, I'm not wholly happy with this, but it is going to solve a problem with my TBR. And that's Peace Like a River by Leif Enger. And I don't know whether you can see, it's got tiny, tiny birds that have wings on the cover. And it's set in America, and it's kind of going against the ethos of the Dial Home Device Square, because that's trying to prompt me to read books that are set not really in Western countries, I think is what I was going for. But I don't have a huge number of those, and I certainly don't have any with wings on the cover, and I am trying not to buy books if I don't have to. And I also have a challenge TBR spin from Sarah Freshley over on Freshly Read Books, and this is in my TBR spin pile. And assuming that the spin for June allows me to pick Peace Like a River, I am going to go for it. It's set in America, so I'm not wholly satisfied that I'm fulfilling the DHD square prompt, but it isn't set in the UK, so technically it counts. And if I land on that square again, I promise I'll try and do better. Okay, we're nearly home, so there's no option for me to get a character and a location because there's no locations left on the board. And it seems unlikely that we're going to get another prompt, but we'll see. If we roll particularly low, we might. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so definitely get home next time. So this is the last prompt of the game, and that's Braytak. And Braytak is one of the Jafar. He's a Jafar warrior, an older warrior who's a mentor type character to one of the main members of the Stargate team. And because he's from a different planet, his prompt is to read a book that is translated from a language other than English. So what are we combining with that? Ooh, Reddit Fantasy Bingo again. And then Braytak asked me to read a translated book, and also got the Reddit Fantasy Bingo on the spinner wheel. And that works out because there is a translation square for Reddit Fantasy Bingo, so that combines, and it's the same prompt for both challenges. And in May I started reading Frieren Beyond Journey's End as part of my Dice Dictate My Day vlog, which was one of the craziest and most fun vlogs, and most exhausting, that I've ever filmed. But I read the first 3 volumes of this, and for hard mode on Reddit Fantasy Bingo, it has to have been translated into English in the last 5 years, and that definitely counts for these 2. So I'm going to finish off volumes 4 and 5 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End for that. And there's no need for us to roll again because we're on the square right next to Stargate Command, so we have made it home. But I failed the mission because whilst I did land on a character square, I did not land on a location square. And the failure condition is to add a specific book from the TBR shelves with a random number generator. So I have to put an extra book on the TBR. So I guess we'll have to go and do that. Okay, so these are the book flaps, and behind these flaps are the physical books on my unread TBR. And I've counted them, and there are 36, not including ones that are later in a series that I haven't started yet. So we have the random number generator for my failure to complete the mission. 34. So that's going to be fairly easy since there were 36. So it'll be down here, 30, 36, 35. Ha! Penny Vincenzi, Forbidden Places. Okay, That's quite a chonker, but I can take that on the plane to Australia, so I'm quite happy with that. Nice. Haven't read one of those for a while, but that's going to be perfect for a long haul flight. Brilliant. So I failed my mission, which is a bit of a shame, but the random number generator has picked Forbidden Places by Penny Vincenzi, and I'm happy with that because I'm going to Australia at the end of June, and this is going to be a really good airplane long haul flight read because it's chunky. It's going to take me a while, but it's a very easy read, so very happy with the random number generator. While we're here though, we didn't get Lost in the Library on the spinner wheel, and I do need to do a prompt for that this month. So I am going to roll again and switch game boards. This is a board game which is part of TBR-a-thon. I am currently here on New or Old, so I'm going to roll to get another move on the board. 1d6. 5. So where can I get to? So I'm going to give myself an easy way out, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the 2026 goal square, because I can use that to combine with one of the other prompt combos and get one book that fulfills all 3 prompts. So I'm gonna take the easy win. That was pretty good first iteration of the SG1 TBR game, I think. Didn't get to use the robot TBR jar, never mind. Thank you for supervising, Stanley. I hope you are satisfied with the quality assurance on this game. And yeah, I shall look forward very much to playing this again. So that's my stack. I've also managed to fit in the remaining challenge prompts for the month without having to add any extra books, which is great, because the only ones that I didn't get on the spinner wheel were Lost in the Library, which is 2026 goal, and the Magical Readathon Bog Challenge, which the prompt for June is a book that was published in your birth month, which for me is November. And The Hanging Tree by Ben Aronovich is continuing a series, which is a 2026 goal for me, and was also published in November of whichever year it was published. So that's doing very heavy duty. I'm glad it's one that I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy, so I will at least finish it and complete all the prompts. Oh, well, that was quite the roller coaster. Quite a lot of planning and research gone into that. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think this game is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you have enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed playing it. Please let me know down in the comments if you have a very overly complicated TBR game, because TBR videos are my favourite ones to film and also my favourite ones to watch, and I need more TBR games in my life. So if you've got one, let me know in the comments, or if you know of any that you can recommend that I would like to watch, please do so. Let me know if you are doing any of the challenges that I've mentioned and what your picks are for Buzzword or Magical Readathon, and I will see you again in another video very soon. Please don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more Stargate SG1 TBR games in the future, as well as all of the other stuff that Stanley and I do around our reading. But yes, bye for now.